With the local economy stagnant and food prices on the rise, the number of hungry in Clark County continues to grow. To better serve the needs of the community, the Clark County Food Bank recently opened a new distribution center to assist in providing over 3 million pounds of food per year to those in need. To find out more about the ongoing efforts to feed the hungry, we sat down with Clark County Commissioner Marc Boldt and Bill Coleman, a board member for the Clark County Food Bank.
Hello, I'm Jim Demmer with Clark County Close-Up. Thank you both for meeting with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Boldt, let's start with kind of an overview of hunger in Clark County. With the economy continues to flounder and food prices going up, what are you seeing as Commissioner?
Well, you know, as I think we go back 2 years ago, we were thinking bad economy, it's going to get better, you know. Now we're seeing it's bad 4 years, could be another 6 or 7 years. So that lag time, I think, is really catching up, whether it's electricity or rent or, of course, mortgages, foreclosures. All of them things are really built on poverty. Poverty has gone up, especially in women head of households gone up. They probably make up about a quarter of the households that have come up. So they've been harder hit. Minorities have been harder hit. And the last you really see is food and food insecurity, or in other words, we may have a little food there, you know, but we're always worried about it. I think that's really where we see in a lot of school kids is that the kids go to a school, they see, you know, they can get some food, but they're always that anxiety of saying, I don't know what's at home. And so we're starting to see much more of that.
Bill, as a board member for the food bank, have you noted an increase in need in the community?
Yes, very definitely. And as the commissioner said, a few years ago we thought that we'd kind of hit a plateau. And for 2 years running, it was 9,000 food boxes a month we distributed. And then it started creeping up in July of last year. And December of last year was the first time we distributed more than 10,000 food boxes in a month. And the last 4 months of this is our fiscal year, so July through October have averaged 10,000 a month. So it just continues to climb. And the thing about food is you got to pay your rent, and you got to pay the utilities, and you have a job, you got to get to the job, and you go through all the progression, and you end up with food being the place where it's not mandatory, and there's some other avenues to get it, and there's just unfortunately not enough to go around, but there's a great demand.
You know, and I think the old stereotypes, I believe there are old stereotypes of people who might need assistance in the past. For example, they might just be homeless, those things. Are those stereotypes, is it true today? I mean, are you seeing more families, more children in need?
I think, you know, in the homeless, where for a long time we've said you're kind of 1 or 2 paychecks away from being homeless. Mm-hmm. And now it's even more evident that I've worked in a couple of the shelters, you know, and you see really a clean dress family that is in a shelter now with kids. You know, they're like a solid family, but they don't have a home. Most of them don't have a car. They're on public transportation, and so they're set in that transition, you know, of a emergency homeless centers. So I think it's a whole different subset of what we're looking at.
Well, the food boxes were called emergency food boxes, and it was in case you had an automobile, you know, repair that you didn't expect, or an illness or something like that. Now there's not enough food to make it more than an emergency, but a lot of people are looking at it as a means of sustaining their food supply.
Yes.
Commissioner Boldt, how has the county been responding to the needs of hunger in the community?
Actually, the county really assists, share, the food bank, and there's a lot of other nonprofits have really stepped up. As you read in the Columbian and different places, many churches, you know, they've really stepped up. And I think even more than that, we've seen neighbors looking at another neighbor, and I think that's really the thing that we have to look at. We can't, the food bank has its own mission, you know, But if we don't watch our neighbor to see that they need some food, we can't expect everybody to go to the food bank. So I think more than anything, we're here to assist the nonprofits that do great work.
Now, the one thing, do you anticipate as further funding falls for the federal government and state, do you anticipate more people in need?
Yes, we do. You know, when this shows, people see this, we probably will have gone through a special session. And them cuts really are primarily have to come from social and health services. And so when them come, them eventually trickle down, probably in January. We're going to see cuts in mental health, probably some to food banks, some state assistance from the top down. And so that's going to require the local level to even give more.
Okay, so Bill, tell us about the Clark County Food Bank.
Well, from a funding source, we do get some support from the county. One of the programs that's under the Oregon Food Bank is called Fresh Alliance, where we get roughly 30,000 pounds of food a month from the supermarkets. And this is protein, high source of protein, so meat or things of that nature that on their pull date they're frozen. We collect them in the frozen state, keep them frozen, distributed that way. So we look to the county from that standpoint. From the food bank, there's really two parts to it. One is the warehouse, where the Salvation Army has run the Stop Hunger warehouse for several years, and they took that over from the county as a lead agency for Clark County. And they're going to continue to do that for us for the next 18 months. And so the warehouse operation is essentially funded by state and federal funds. The operation of the food bank is essentially all private funds. And so what we're trying to do is to increase the visibility of the need for hunger. I used to work for a fellow who said, I've never found anybody who's in favor of hunger, but not everybody is aware of it and knows how to do something to support that. So whether it's from a volunteer standpoint, from a food drive standpoint, or from a financial donation standpoint, that we hope to increase the visibility and help to soften the need for hunger in the county.
So how does the food bank actually get the food to those in need?
That's an interesting point, because it is a continuation of a system. We're a distribution center.
Okay.
The people who get, the agencies who get the food to the people in need are Salvation Army and St. Vincent de Paul and Interfaith Treasure House, Neighbor Helping Neighbor, North County, the food pantries around the county. Those are the ones that come to the food bank, take the food to their pantries, and then distribute it there to the various clients. And so what we can do is, number one, by having the food bank, we now have a bigger pot. Okay? That doesn't mean the pot's going to automatically get filled, but we have an opportunity to accept food we haven't done in the past. So number one, we can get more food. Secondly, food comes in bulk in a lot of cases: pinto beans, rice, oats, trucks of carrots, not trucks of carrots, that's slipped in, apples, potatoes, where the pantries would have to repack those in a means to go. We can do that centrally now. So it makes the job easier for the counties, and also because of the storage space, we can decrease the need for the agencies around the county to have their own storage, to increase their storage capacity.
Now, let's talk, if people notice on our one shot, we do have some shots on the monitor of a new food distribution center.
Correct.
We got to go out on a preview you recently had for some major donors. Tell us about this facility. How will it help feed the hungry?
Well, first of all, it's just increasing visibility. Going through the capital campaign, this is an extremely generous community. It was raised by, the funding is about $4.7 million. About 2.6 of that was from a combination of CDBG funds from the county, about $1.5 million from the state, and about $750,000 from federal funds. And the other was raised essentially locally from individuals and foundations. And and it's essentially paid for. We're about $50,000 short of having the total paid for.
Wow.
The pledges will come in over the course of the next 3 years, but it's nice to have a place and not have a mortgage on it. So what we're going to be able to do is to accept the food, and the biggest difference is going to be, we have a 1,200 square foot cooler and a 1,200 square foot freezer. Those are dramatically larger than what we had and accessible at the old Stop Hunger warehouse. So we can access food when it's available and hold it and distribute it slowly. We get more fresh food and hold that. So the diversity of the food, the nutritional value of the food will be dramatically increased. We will have repack and we'll have a learning kitchen. So,
and we talked about that learning kitchen. You mentioned this will be used for volunteers?
It'll be predominantly used to teach volunteers to become volunteers in teaching nutrition education classes. We have an AmeriCorps volunteer who's with us this year, who's working with WSU Extension and the Oregon Food Bank in their cooking programs. And so we'll start doing these classes and filling in the gaps, teaching people how to cook food, preserve food, food safety, and how do you shop smartly.
Now, where is this facility located?
At the address, the bad news is it's in a new business industrial park, and MapQuest and Google aren't very good at getting people there. The address is 6502 Northeast 47th Avenue, and that's one block north of 63rd Street, which is also Minnehaha.
Okay.
There's a light between the St. John's intersection and the Andreessen intersection on 63rd, and we're the only light there, and so you turn north and there we are.
So as a distribution center, do you want the public to come, or is it more that this will be where you're pushing out food to
the public to access food won't come there, but
okay.
the public to come to volunteer,
okay.
to repack, to learn how to do the kitchen. As a matter of fact, the first two events, Saturday events we had with the walk and knock bags were folded last Saturday and the Saturday before. We had about 150 people, both Saturdays folding the bags. Joe Paletto said we're going to do that. That's last year, and he announced it, and we made it.
Great.
And the food drive that'll be this coming Saturday will come to the food bank instead of going to the port to get distributed.
Okay. Commissioner, can you tell us how the county property at 78th Street, the forum, how was that used with the fight for
with the food bank?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as you know, the 78th property was essentially a research station. So when the county took it over, it stayed a research station. But when Bill come and the food bank, to say, and said, could we have some of that land? And it did just an amazing work. The benefit, I think, between the food bank and probably the gardens, that people can go to the food bank and see how it's prepared. But then we have a place where people can say, I got a backyard, and they're doing it here on 78th Street, and this is how we garden. I think, as you can see, some of our events where they've said, do you want to dig some carrots? Man, these kids from everywhere are getting dirty instead of doing the other stuff that we'd think they would naturally do. They're in the fields digging carrots and everything, and it has really turned the way we look at food around.
Bill, I know you were very, very instrumental in this whole forum event. What's the need to get that fresh produce to the needy in the community?
Well, there's limited access to fresh food. The food we get is through a program called Harvest Share. It's an Oregon Food Bank program from the wholesale produce markets in Portland, and it's food that doesn't have enough life to go through the retail system. So you may get corn and tomatoes and lettuce one day and jicama and guava and mangoes the next day. And so you'd like to have some predictability. And carrots are something that have a long shelf life. They're very popular. And so we didn't get them through that chain. So, and they're forgiving in the ground. So that was really the impetus to take a single crop and then to build on a volunteer base so that you can do that over time. There are 3 Presbyterian churches who refer to themselves as churches in partnership that also use an acre up there to grow a mixed batch of vegetables. It's really like a garden versus a carrot farm. And they grow carrots and potatoes and tomatoes and potatoes and squash, winter squash, turnips, some of the biggest turnips you'll ever see. Even planted some leeks this year.
Well, we're quickly running out of time, so 2 important points I want to cover. If someone is in need or knows of someone in need, what kind of resources, where can people go to find out where they can get help?
If they have access to the internet, they can go to clarkcountyfoodbank.org, and we have a list of the pantries on there, what zip codes they serve and hours that they're open. If they need to, if they don't have access to that from a telephone standpoint, they can call us at 360-693-0939.
Okay. And then if people want to help, I mean, I know people are home right now. They might have some extra food cans that left over from Thanksgiving. They could volunteer. What are some options? How can they get involved?
First option is this Saturday is the Walk and Knock food drive. It may be the most effective food drive in the United States in terms of the amount of food collected based upon the population to collect it from. So food drives and this Saturday is a great opportunity. Coming in to help us, you know, bringing food, we're going to have a grand opening on the 6th of December. The public is totally invited at that time to come in, see the new facility, bring a can of food, and and add to the Walk and Knock total. And then just volunteering this time of year, it's through the repack. But when spring comes and we get some weeding and harvesting again, and we'll be in the carrot patch again next year.
Okay. If people want more information about hunger in Clark County and where to donate, let's give those numbers again. First, the Clark County Food Bank.
The address is 6502 Northeast 47th Avenue.
And the telephone number again?
360-693-0939.
And the website?
It's clarkcountyfoodbank.org. All small letters, no spaces.
Okay. And Commissioner Boldt, can they also call your office?
Oh, yes,
okay.
they may. Yeah, any county number.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and that's 397-2232. And www.clark.wa.gov.
Yes.
Well, thank you both for meeting with us, and good luck for the opening event.
Thank you very much. I hope to see everybody there.